Hello guys, and welcome back to another mod review. Today I got a weird one for you. Normally when I do these reviews I try to explain a lot of what the characters are able to do, but since today we have a bit of an odd one. We have Deku from My Hero Academia, pretty famous anime that's been going on for quite a long time at this point. And most people know that since we are in the newest arcs, he's gained quite a few bits of power. Someone was able to recreate this character into Risk of Rain, and now we have this mod. The problem with this mod is that I would love to explain all the things that he can do, except there's a lot. There's so many abilities and powers and little different skills, everything. There's a lot to this character. And if I even went through all of this and explained it, it would go way above the 10 minutes that I want to take when it comes to doing any of these videos. I try to keep it a little bit simpler for the most part. So I'm just going to talk and kind of go over the basics of this character and my thoughts on him. Now, the first thing I am going to say with this character, his sound effects are quite loud. I've already turned down to like 50%, and I'm probably even going to reduce the audio of the gameplay itself even more. But when playing, yeah, his constant screaming can get a bit excessive. It's a bit much sometimes. Like I don't need to hear him screaming so goddamn loud into my ears every time I do my right click, my M2. It is pretty insane. But basically Deku has an absolute ton of abilities. You already get your basic 4, and then you have the 4 above. I'm playing basically on the default mode. There's a bunch of changes you can make so you can play with more, but you really don't need to. Through the basics, you get the 4th ability above the R. It allows you to switch between the different styles, and just doing that, you can pretty much play with every single one of the abilities that he has without actually having to go back and change the character. Just gonna get rid of these guys real quick. And he has a lot of weirdly cool abilities. It's just ridiculous. There's so much to the character. You can float, get all of his abilities, and this you can just keep doing this like no problem. His R is just his 45% and his 100%, where his 100% actually ticks down his health by quite a lot too. And every time you switch from your different modes, right? So you have your basic, no percentage. You get your 45. You know, you shoot a little harder, do a little more. Your moves change. Instead of teleporting, it's just right in front of you. This becomes bigger. You know, and then you have your 100%. So now you're punching, and you do this. I don't know. You know, you got big hits. You can fly with this practically. This pushes you back now. You know, it's quite a lot. But at least in your base mode, you do have health regen, so you can kind of make some of it back as long as you don't get hit. While at your 45%, you do not have that regen anymore. You stop regenning health whatsoever. So then let's get into my thoughts on the character. Personally, I think, like I've said many times before, there's just a little bit too much going on with this character. Understandably, they're trying to reproduce what the character actually has in terms of abilities in the show, and going even further into the show, he is supposed to have up to like 7 quirks or something like that, all at the same time, and he's struggling to kind of be able to control all of them, or to be even able to simultaneously control multiple quirks at the same time. And well, if the creator is trying to make you feel like he does, certainly does, because it feels like really hard to control all of these abilities a lot of the times. Like I tend to fiddle around a little bit too much with the abilities, trying to switch back and forth, and the constant cooldown between them resetting every time you switch doesn't really help in making it feel fluid. It just makes you feel like you have to wait a lot. But I think it was mostly done just because the amount of power that this character does is very high. Even with no abilities, you can deal a lot of damage very quickly, making the game a lot easier to handle and making levels not all that difficult at the end of the day. Now, of course, when it comes to the animations and the sound effects to this ability, there are some cool ones that are thrown throughout. They clearly did the best that they could. Some animations are a little weird, especially like 100% with the hands, where you just kind of punch in place really awkwardly. It just doesn't look very good. But there are others like the 100% smashes and the 100% kick, where you like throw through the air and collect all the enemies as you're passing through, that I think look really, really cool and have amazing effect. And those are very fun to use, giving you that sense of power that you should have with someone with such an insane quirk like Deku. And in terms of the sound effects, again, some abilities are just fine. I don't really think there's too much of a problem. There is like with shoot style, while you're using 45% and you're kicking, like it's a constant hit. You can kind of chain them back to back, and it starts getting kind of crazy loud, the kick sound. And there are a lot of abilities like where, especially the ones like for your M1 and M2 that you can spam more often, the sound is so loud that you end up having to turn down your master volume most of the time to compensate for just how loud the character is. And I was saying this earlier with his screaming, it is a constant amount of screaming. It's very, very loud, and you can kind of spam your abilities and it makes it kind of worse. Just a base recommendation to just turn down the volume when you play this character. You're just going to have to. It's just a thing you have to deal with, as far as I've seen, but it's okay. It sucks, but you can deal with it. Just turn down the volume and it's not that bad, and you can just deal with that. And it's kind of worth it to play the character, because the character is actually fun to play. It's fun to use all the abilities. It's a little crazy, but you're playing with mods anyway, so you should just have fun. That's kind of the whole point anyways. But, well, those are my thoughts on the character. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think, and if you're going to try it out, leave your comments down below, as I do read them, and subscribe to the channel because I am trying to get back into it. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.